Hi people, welcome to Blu UK Jazz Dance. What does it take to fly solo as an independent interdisciplinary artist who is very much into alternative play, games, play, experimental, improvisational, arts, sports, play? What does it take as an individual? Well, what I am doing at the moment in the Blue Lab, I've written down what does dance leadership mean to me? What does dance leadership mean to me? And basically right now, what does it mean to me flying solo as an independent interdisciplinary dancer who's basically self-trained? Okay, it's important. Basically, it means self-empowerment to me as an individual. It means self-development, self-mastery, self-actualization, self-discovery. It means 12 steps to heaven. Now, why would I be saying it means 12 steps to heaven? Well, one of the key things when I talk about heaven, it led to this photograph, an important photograph, post-university at the age of 45, 46, 47, this photograph was taken. Why was the photograph important? Well, basically what happened to me, my archive, I diligently put on PCs, I put on computers. What happened was a virus happened in 2005 when I was at university, when I was about to make a new portfolio. A virus attacked my computer, attacked all backup computers, and I lost an entirety backlog of important portfolio information on my actual life as a dancer. I lost it all. Amazing story. Could never even believe, but that time was viruses attacked computers, they attacked my USBs, they attacked all the PCs I had information on because I brought them all to university. Yeah, because I went to university from 05 to 09 to develop the business knowledge, the arts management knowledge, to self-promote myself and self-promote a number of projects that I'd created independently of organizations. And I had created at least 40 independent projects, which were all about, one, raising the prestige of my leadership, the status, the profile as a person with special education needs. At that time, people need to understand, up to going to university in 2005, I was unaware that I had dyslexia. My special education needs was identified as slow learning, and I was very much a person who was an advocate for special education needs people to get the best opportunity for training for themselves, and I've done it through my own self, because special education needs people need personal learning programs, and as an individual, that's why I create projects. I create projects because what was happening was I didn't have qualifications in dance, arts administration, entertainment management. I didn't have none of these things, but the doors were open. What was most importantly for me to get training. Special education needs people recognize that in that field anyway, events management, arts management, you don't need qualifications, you need experience, but you need experience. That's the key thing, and some people are not getting that experience. I was lucky from the beginning. Grassroots communities provide the best training that you can ever get to do with development of arts, entertainment, play, because they have the most projects, the most diverse projects you could ever want to work with happen in slums, they happen in inner city areas, particularly in youth clubs. So I got a lot of training within youth club setting, doing a lot of volunteer work, and that takes us to international. So I did a lot of youth arts, cultural exchanges. That is where I got my international experience of working with people, going to Europe, and Europeans coming here, Africans coming, international artists coming into the community. I got to work with that, work with them as an individual, and got to know knowledge. Then what happened was I got to international work. I got to work with a teacher called Sir Roy Blackman, who did a Masters in Education at Manchester University. He was bringing international students here. He was working with international students, and part of his work was working in the ethnic minorities department, and he created a program. Basically, I became part of student empowering students, artists empowering students, student empowering communities, communities empowering students, basically breaking stereotypes about each other's cultures. We could do automatically by us getting together and networking with each other and creating a program So that was the whole thing of student empowering students. And I took that anywhere I went into my life. As a student, I was an engineering student. I created a student empowering student at the programs that I was involved. Anywhere I've gone in the world, I've community empowering communities. I've always created a program. So, example, when international people get together, say, what can we do as a program? I said, let's create this program called Artists Empowering Artists. I'm here. I can tell you about my art and entertainment within my community. So can you. Let's create a program that you can. Your job is to empower me about your community, so you know what you're doing. You're just doing just thinking of something you want to do. I'm going to tell you about being marginalised as a West Indian immigrant in Britain and what that means to me in Europe, because when I meet a lot of people around the world, be they African, be they Chinese, they all have stereotypes about West Indians, about black males particularly, and females that have come from European, from English colonialization, did one similar thing anywhere they went in the colonies as what they did in Britain. They spread stereotypes about marginalized groups in Britain and their contribution. They wrote out their heritage, they wrote out their legacy of achievement, benefits, contributions, development. With African diaspora people have been involved in every war that the British fought. They were part of helping them get liberty, part of them getting freedom. And we've not been acknowledged. We've been part of inventions, never got acknowledged for it throughout the whole of the world. We've contributed to the cultural life. African diaspora people changed the cultural life of the English and Europeans. We changed it, we improved it, we added to it, which has not never been acknowledged. So that's to today, one of the individuals. This is a project called Mixed Movement. As an African diaspora brother, I contributed to it at the age of 47. I introduced a dance form that's not been seen for many years, which is my own, Blu UK Jazz Dance. We have what is called UK Jazz Dances, an umbrella term for a number of UK underground jazz dances. But you need to understand there was no school. I am my own school. I brought my own culture, my own lifestyle, my own movements, my own ideas. I taught masterclasses in this. I did the pre-event to develop the digital side to it. I went to all the training that could be involved in this. I've been involved in mixed movement. I was a person that was promoting it from a voluntary perspective from the beginning. As soon as I discovered it in 2009, up to 2011, up to 2017, I was the individual who promoted it to other dancers in the UK and around the world, saying this activity is a brilliant activity, because what it was redressing something that was happening in the society due to clubs being killed off. Back in my day, of a heyday, we had a club scene that was a social dance scene that was 7 days a week. You might as well say from the day I was in my mother's womb, dancing was an important tool for us to survive and our parents to survive. It was 7 days a week. You saw it in the home physically because of the age of our parents. Dance was huge in the home. Dancing to music, people playing music 7 days a week up to 1986. And I was born in 1964. Dance was prevalent. Dance was in the park. Everywhere. It was important to our development as a people that were marginalised, as a people who were defranchised, as a people who were marginalised in the slums, socially excluded, socially, physically, intellectually, culturally, emotionally, spiritually, politically, economically, technologically from the society at large. Do you understand? We created our own dance. We insulated ourselves. Our parents insulated us from the worst of the racism. But then what happened was we had to experience the racism by going to primary schools. And we could never believe, we never understood the significance of how racism in education can have an power to make people commit suicide, make people feel inferior about who they are. And what happened, the British had been sophisticated in the way that they put racism into the school is through the whole educational system. So what happened was we were miseducated. So what happened, all marginalised groups, when they went into the British education system, what happened was they all had identity crisis. So the first thing they suffered from trauma of identity crisis. Then they're seeing their parents being treated in terrible ways. politically, economically, technological environment, legally. Our parents were put under stress, which put us under stress, which put the community under stress. So what happened was immigrants who came to Britain were put under stress by the British government, by the British society. Racism was rife in the British society. We had the National Front. We have the KK ratified in 1964. There was no rest for African diaspora people. We have to understand the significance of what I'm saying in this moment in time. Anyway, Blu UK Jazz Dance, giving people understanding. What does dance mean to me? Dance leadership mean to me? I put it down. Struggle to success. It's the history of race relations in Britain is what dance leadership means to me. It's important what I'm saying. Today we have cultural diversity, and still cultural diversity is still not being enforced in the way it should be. I was born in the era of 1964 when there was no discrimination law, and it's exactly racism has risen in 1964, boom, and it has risen in 2020. As we approach 2020, it has risen. Racism has gone out the roof. Why? Because we're in recession, and when recessions come, marginalized groups are blamed for all the challenges, blamed for taking jobs. It's untrue. We're less than 1% of the population, African Caribbeans in Britain. We are a small population of people scattered who contributed to the cultural life. We've contributed to economics. We've contributed to the social, physical, intellectual, cultural, emotional, spiritual, political, economic, technological, environment, and legal developments of Britain. And we have not been given the respect, the dignity that we deserve. So part of my work is, like most African diaspora artists, to dignify my art. And what I'm dignifying here is my art. UK Jazz Dance, Blu UK Jazz Dance, I've identified it's a mixed movement form, it's a theatrical form, basically it's a live art form, it's an improvisational form, it's a social dance form, it's a participatory form. Basically I use it in a wide range of range. Why? Because that's how I lived it organically. It first came to me as an activity to dance, and improvise to dance came to me as an activity that was just done in the home, to celebrate oneself, to feel good about oneself, to show my father, look how good I am, to show mommy how good I am, show my brother how good I am, basically to stand out the crowd. The child learns to stand out the crowd. Then it came something very different later on. It came an activity for me to mature myself, to find myself. Basically, it came an activity to escape and find myself. And I talk about great things in dance. So I always talk about opposite struggles and success. Escapism to find oneself. Because what it did, it gave me release from the stress, the mental stress, the physical stress, the emotional traumas I faced in Britain. I came up as a special education needs child, and today is an incredible story that I have to tell people. I still experience exclusion, defranchisement, marginalization because of my special education needs. I'm seen as a dumb nigger, wog and coon in Britain as I approach 2020, and I say that straight up, particularly because I excel in dance, particularly because I excel in athletic ability. It's amazing how people approach me as a person, particularly graduates that approach me and know that I excel, and I come from the place of sports. I come from the place of dance. Oh yeah, you're just a dancer. That is how my life is. And what happens is I look before I leap. What I talk to people about, what does dance mean to me? Dance gave me a type of thinking.